Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're talking all about confidence, something that I have had to work on. As you do, you're not born with confidence. It really is a skill or a muscle. Like you would go to the gym to build a muscle, you build confidence over time and through experiences. For some people, that comes more easily than others. We can lose our confidence along the way for a number of different reasons. That's kind of what happened to me. I would say now I'm a pretty confident person. I run a successful business. I host a podcast. I do in-person speaking gigs, which old me would have died with the thought of that. And I was such an anxious person a few years ago, mainly because of my health struggles and how that affected my skin and my weight and my hair. But as a kid, I was pretty confident too, which can be the case for a lot of people. And we can be told as a child to be quiet and not show off, and things can happen where we lose our confidence. And I want to help you get that back. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 tips that have helped me and that could help you as well with your confidence journey. So number one is probably one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard, and I really wanted to share it with you today because it really is one of those key things that I think about all the time, and it has really improved my life as a result of following it. So it's to keep promises that you make to yourself. Would you be confident in that friend who is always flaking on plans that you have? No, you would want to be friends with someone who you have trust in, you can confide in, you trust that what they say they follow through with. So if you're currently saying in your life, either out loud or in your head, things like, I'm going to start going to the gym, or tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym super early, or you say that you're going to stop scrolling on your phone in bed before you go to sleep and instead read a book, or you say that you're going to go out with your friends, but you're not going to drink, and you do, you need to stick with that because if you follow through with these small daily tasks, which might not seem important, but they really are because you are going to build trust and you believe that you can then follow through on bigger tasks, your dreams, your goals, your desires. You know that you've got yourself and you can rely on yourself. So really pay attention to what you're saying. And if you're not confident that you're not going to do it, don't say it. But if you do say it, hold yourself accountable and start to keep the promises that you make to yourself. Me doing this has been a game changer. And then I really can believe that I'm reliable, and other people then have more confidence in me because my energy gives that off. So I'd love to know how this goes for you. Number two is to do the inner work. You might have heard of the terms self-esteem or self-concept, and this is really about building up your own confidence internally and relying less on other people or things outside of yourself to prove your worth. Because if your worth right now just comes from the money that you earn or how you look, those things can go away. And then so does your self-confidence and belief in yourself. So if we really build on our inner world and our inner confidence, that means that regardless of what is going on externally, we know that again, we have our self and we can trust ourselves to rebuild those things if needed. If you grew up as a child and you were told things like you're shy, you're stupid, you're ugly, this will probably affect your self-confidence into adulthood too. So when I say inner work, it could be inner child healing, it could be working through some of your limiting beliefs, it could be trauma work, it depends on the severity of the situation. All of us have trauma to some degree and things that we want to work on. Even if you had an idyllic childhood, there's going to be things that went on with your parents and how you felt neglected at times because they were very busy and you were asking for them to look at your colouring and they were really busy on the phone and they just dismissed you in that moment. They are probably lovely people, but that can affect a child's mind. You think that the problem is you, and they don't like you or you're unlovable, the brain as a child it's about how it responds and perceives that in the moment. Now we can very clearly see that what was going on and the reality of it, but it really comes down to how your body reacted in that moment. Plus, when you feel comfortable and confident within yourself and you release some of these suppressed emotions and shame, guilt, fear, any lower vibration emotions, you're going to feel better in yourself. Plus, your health is going to be better. When our health is better, we probably feel more confident and more driven to follow through on some of our goals and desires. And speaking of frequency, one of the top and highest frequencies is authenticity. So this is really getting to know yourself, what you like, what you want in your life, in your reality, and staying true to that and not letting other people dictate or determine what you go after. It's about listening to your inner guidance system. I did a podcast episode recently on intuition. That could be a good one for you to check out. But there's many tools out there. It could be therapy, journaling, mirror work, which is speaking to yourself in the mirror and looking eye to eye. And this is really powerful stuff. You can use affirmations in the mirror. You can do inner child work or EFT in the mirror for extra bonus points as well. And then hypnosis is another amazing tool. So it's just about really figuring out what your triggers are. So if you keep getting triggered about a certain situation or you have these thoughts on repeat, we typically have the same thoughts on repeat, about 90% of them every single day. So pay attention. Is it always about money? Is it always about your love life? Is it always about your health and how you don't believe you're going to get better? Really start exploring those things because your triggers are an opportunity for transformation. Number 3 is your body language and your presence. The majority of communication is non-verbal. I was going to look at the percentage before this, but I forgot. But I think it's something like 75%, something crazy, of your communication is not through the words that you're speaking, it's through your body language, your tonality. And it's not exactly what you say, it's how you say it. So a few things with body language and presence. A key one can be your posture. And Tony Robbins talks a lot about this. And he even did, I think it was him who did some scientific studies on power posing, which is where you can do like a Superman or Wonder Woman pose before a meeting or an interview, and you put your hands on your hips, you open up your chest, you smile, and you have that lovely, long, lean posture. And this is something that can increase your confidence. It can increase things like testosterone, but in a nice balanced way. It's not going to spike you too high if you're a woman, and it's going to lower some of those stress hormones. Whereas if you're hunched over, if you're closed off, if you're speaking very quietly, that naturally shows a lack of confidence and people pick up on that. So really be mindful of your posture. It can work both ways. So when we have low confidence, when we have low self-esteem, we tend to hunch over and close ourselves off, but we can have an effect the other way where we purposely be mindful of our posture and we sit back and we relax and we take some deep breaths and we slow our breath down. That is going to influence our thoughts as well. So just be mindful that it works both ways. Maintaining eye contact when talking to people. You don't need to overthink it, but if you want to practice this, you can even, when you go out and about, wear sunglasses and just try and look at as many people as possible, and that will build up your confidence. They're not going to see that you're doing that. And then when you're talking to people, just trying to maintain a healthy amount of eye contact. Or people even look, I think you can look in the middle of people's eyebrows or just above or just below the eye, and it just makes it a little bit easier if you have some social anxiety or anything. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, you've probably heard me talking about the importance of minerals. I know that you're trying to balance your hormones, detox your liver, heal your gut, but minerals are actually key for these things to happen. They really are the spark plugs of the body. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that unless you're working on mineral balancing, you're probably not going to see results when it comes to things like energy, skin, digestion, and period problems. So many of us are mineral deficient or imbalanced these days due to soil depletion, chronic stress, poor gut health, medication usage, and big mistakes that I see clients making is supplementing in the wrong way and following intense healing practices. Trying to DIY your health with self-supplementation, restricted diets, and crazy detoxes can actually throw your mineral levels out of whack. It's important to know which specific minerals you have to determine the treatment that you need, and that's exactly why I created my mineral balancing course, I'm Balance, so that you can get your hands on my favorite functional lab test, the hair tissue mineral analysis. Yes, this can be done from anywhere in the world. Here's what you get in this program. One complimentary HDMA test, over 8 hours of video education, helping you to understand your unique lab results and exactly what you need to do to balance things naturally. Plus the tools to support you and your family long-term with a deeper understanding of minerals. All this is just £447, including the lab test. Then long-term, you can just purchase additional tests for yourself and your loved ones, because this is a test that I recommend everyone does 1 to 2 times a year to make sure you're staying as balanced as possible. You could get started today with your hair sample and have answers within a few weeks once the results come back. Get instant access to the course material by clicking the link in the episode show notes. The next one is a grounded, steady voice, so slowing down and being really mindful with the words that you're saying. This is something that I've been actively working on in my own life. I used to upspeak quite a lot, and this is where your voice goes up at the end of sentences, and it's a bad habit that I've been trying to break, and it just doesn't show confidence when it sounds like everything that you're asking is a question. So I've been purposely trying to work on this. I don't know if you've been able to tell the difference on the podcast, and I still probably do it every now and again, but it's when you frame it downwards at the end of the sentence, it can really make it seem like you know your stuff. And when you are taking your time and really not being afraid to take a pause every now and again, it shows that you have confidence, so you can do that too. And last couple, it could be that you just smile more, just because of that physiological brain connection. When we smile, we release certain hormones and it relaxes the rest of our body, because if we were really in danger, we wouldn't really be able to do that. And when you're in a meeting or you're walking into a new environment, don't be scared of taking up space. Walk into the room and act like you deserve to be there, because you do. You can even mirror or study confident people. So maybe find some characters in movies or a TV series that you like and just watch how they act in certain situations. And when you find yourself in a challenge, try to act like they would. Do a little role play, do some visualization, and have an alter ego in the moment who you can turn to. A lot of celebrities do this. For example, Beyonce and her Sasha Fierce performing self. We can switch it on and we can act as if until we really build up that confidence naturally. Number 4 is your physical appearance and the 2 out of 3 rule, or the 2/3 rule, which I heard about recently on TikTok and I kind of like it. And it's that you can split your hair, your makeup, and your outfit into those 3. And as long as you can try to have 2 out of the 3 looking good, that is the most important. They don't always have to be perfect and all of them have to be complete, but let's say you are going to the supermarket. I really wouldn't recommend, and I would never do this, but if you go out in your pajamas, at least if you have your makeup and your hair looking decent, it's not going to be as problematic, because at the end of the day, looks are important. And when you look good, you feel good. Everybody knows that. And I know we shouldn't really judge a book based on its cover, but we're humans and we do. Imagine if you were going to look at a house and the outside was run down, horrible, just didn't look like it'd been taken care of. You wouldn't really want to go inside, and it could be the most amazing inside, but you're already going to be put off by the appearance. And you never know who you're going to meet or what opportunities can come from that. So make sure that you look presentable. And if you do go out and you don't look like how you're looking, or you're just wearing some old clothes and you do see someone, you're automatically going to try and hide away and you're not going to feel happy in that moment. So just bear that in mind. And it really does make a difference. On the days that I put a little bit more effort into my appearance, I'm way more productive and I don't mind who which delivery person shows up at the house because I am feeling confident in myself. And last but not least, practice makes perfect. Outside of your comfort zone really is where growth happens. So try to do at least one thing every single day that scares you a little bit and pushes you outside of that comfort zone and therefore builds your confidence. You don't need to expect yourself to be perfect with this, but just test it out, even in the smallest little ways. Making eye contact, like I was saying, with sunglasses on, if that's going to help you to begin with. Speaking to a cashier at the checkout instead of going through the self-service. Saying hi to someone as you walk past them. I know in some places this is considered a crazy thing, but I'm from the north of England and this is just decency and polite. So you might get some crazy looks if you're from down south or a different country, but here we do that. Or speak up at a meeting. It depends on what level you're at. You could really put yourself out there for a presentation. I actually helped a client recently. She sent me a lovely message. I shared it on my Instagram, but a client who I've been working with for a while now. She did a presentation recently to around 200 people, which is insane. And she said that our sessions have really helped her with that because she is feeling better physically. We've been working on her confidence and her nervous system, and she used some of the tools that I recommended to help regulate herself beforehand, and also mental rehearsal, which is visualization. And for days, if not weeks before, she would visualize herself on the stage, presenting, everyone smiling, everything going well, because typically we envisage the worst case scenario, but why not use our brain to our advantage and focus on what we do want rather than what we don't want? So I loved her message and I'm celebrating her because she said she would have never been able to have done that without doing the work that we've been doing together. And last thing on this practice makes perfect section is keep a note in your phone. I've got hundreds of different notes on mine, and it could be times that you showed confidence. And make a note and really keep a memory of all of those small and big things that you've done over the years, and you can add to it over time, or times that you showed confidence. So when you received a compliment and accepted it and didn't automatically deflect and try to tell them that you just rolled out of bed and this shirt's from the charity shop and you paid £2 for it, just accept the compliment. Or it could be a time that you've done a public speaking gig. It could be a time that you went on a date and you've not been in the dating world for a few years. So make a list of that. And then anytime you're about to do something new or you're feeling a little low confidence, because that's bound to happen, you can look at the list and remind yourself of all of the amazing things that you've overcome. I obviously want to mention, as a little bonus tip, I thought it was going to be expected because it's what the whole podcast is about, but don't forget that your physical health has a massive impact on your confidence too. I had major social anxiety because of my poor gut health and my skin was bad because of my mineral levels. So I thought it was a given, and I know I have a million other podcast episodes on this, so I didn't want to go through 5 more health tips, and I wanted to focus more on the mindset side of things. But if you are really struggling, it could be something's going on internally with your hormone levels or your blood sugar. All of those things can impact. So if you've been trying some of these things and you're just like, I don't know what's going on, but my brain is just feels like I'm under a black cloud all the time, or I just really struggle with social anxiety and can't seem to figure it out, then please explore your physical health if you haven't already, because it can be a game changer. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you here again next week for another one.